A prokaryote is a type of cell that does not have a nucleus. Some common examples are things like bacteria, or things like viruses, or things like bacteria. Today, I'm going to be talking about the bacteria, the cell structure of a bacteria, which is something in simple terms like this. Bacteria isn't in, even though it is a prokaryote, which are known to be very simple creatures, they in their own way are still very complex. By being so different, yet so similar to a eukaryote, with many different differences and similarities, of course. One difference being their actually how their DNA is stored. Their DNA is stored in basically jambles in what's around their cytoplasm. No nucleus, no nothing. Just a bunch of DNA and genetic information floating around the place in a circular form. But to pair with them, a similarity that they have to eukaryotes is the presence of a ribosome. Ribosomes, which help, of course, make proteins and stuff like that. But again, prokaryotes have a difference. Like plant cells, they have a cell wall. Their cell wall is there in order to keep structure, in order to keep the cell shape from molding down, from going all over the place. And they also have a cytoplasm. This whole thing, the cell wall, things like that, is called a capsule, which basically keeps the whole thing together, like the cell wall. But whenever we start looking at it more, we get more specifically, we see many different kinds of. No, whenever we look at it more specifically, we see one very big thing that differentiates it from a eukaryote, or maybe even different prokaryotes. It's flagellum. The flagellum is such a unique thing because prokaryotes are meant to survive in their cell form by themselves, not being joined together like eukaryotes of a skin or eukaryotes of the liver. They float by themselves because they're bacteria. They're by themselves, they go everywhere by themselves, only meant to multiply, only meant to inhabit. Parasite, kind of. But their flagellum is used to be able to let them move around. Like it serves as a motor of a sense. It allows them to maneuver around the place, maneuver around basically the world. In order to see the true functions and how it reproduces, how it does its things, how a prokaryote does its things, how it reproduces, we will look at a certain bacteria called Streptococcus pneumoniae, which is a bacteria that causes the infection meningitis. This bacteria infects its host by many different means. It can infect hosts by a person-to-person contact, coming in contact with infected waters, or infected bodily fluids. Now, not all prokaryotes are just bacteria or just viruses, but they are mainly the common types of prokaryotes. In here, a function of a prokaryote is mainly to survive, which is what the bacteria is trying to do. It's trying to infect, it's trying to multiply and survive, in which whenever it inhabits a human, it begins to multiply by the process of binary fission. Or it seeps out a kind of goo that contains genetic info and more of the bacteria, basically reproducing asexually. The whole goal of a prokaryote is to survive by any means necessary, at least for prokaryotes that are bacteria and viruses. So it will infect a human, infect an animal, in order to live off of the host, in order to just live off and continue going. Because it is all that its main purpose is to survive, to live. Like the purpose of every single other animal, which kind of brings it together with eukaryotes, brings it together with animals, and a similarity that it has to both.